A very good evening to all our viewers and welcome to this Sunday's edition of Primetime News coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Mudannayak and as always, let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
Suspension of Perpetual Treasuries Limited extended by another 6 months. 2-week grace period to remove illegal vehicle modifications. Bus Owners Associations threaten to go to Human Rights Commission. Government reverses decision to shut down Sri Lanka Limited. Company to remain SOE with development plans.
Now the stories in detail. The suspension of Perpetual Treasuries Limited have been extended by an additional 6 months. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka said the suspension will take effect from 4:30 p.m. today.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka has decided to extend the suspension of Perpetual Treasuries Limited from carrying on the business and activities of a primary dealer for a further period of 6 months with effect from 4:30 p.m. today in order to continue the investigations being conducted by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka is acting in terms of the regulations made under the Registered Stock and Securities Ordinance and the Local Treasury Bills Ordinance. Perpetual Treasuries Limited was first suspended on the 6th of July 2017 and the suspension has been extended every 6 months since then.
A 2-week grace period has been announced for vehicle owners to remove illegal modifications with the deadline set for January 19th.
The special police operation launched to inspect vehicles including buses operating in violation of motor traffic laws continued today. The Mount Lavinia Police Motor Traffic Division conducted vehicle inspections along the Colombo-Galle main road earlier this morning. During the operation, devices obstructing the front windshield near the driver's seat in buses were removed. Meanwhile, drivers violating the motor traffic regulations were issued warnings.
What are these vehicle modifications? Police said that the modifications include multicolored flashing lights and various sound patterns used for horns, loud silencers, noisy exhaust systems and other hazardous modifications. These illegal vehicle modifications must be removed during the 2-week grace period. Illegal modifications in vehicles will be closely monitored with the help of informants and anyone found violating the law will face the appropriate legal consequences.
What is the stance of the Bus Owners Associations?
විශේෂම කියන්න ඕන දැන් අපි දැක්කේ නෑ මෝටර රථ ආඥා පනතේ තියෙනවා බස් රථයක ඇතුළත ගිහිල්ලා
I have not found anything in the vehicles ordinance that allows for travelling on a bus and filing a case. There's no provision for that in the ordinance. Therefore, I advise the bus owners to file a complaint with the Human Rights Commission regarding this matter. An app has been introduced that is also not in line with the ordinance. The continuous removal of modifications from these buses is a concern. Additionally, the noise levels inside the buses have not been officially approved through any gazette. The Department of Motor Traffic has allowed certain modifications like using stickers as an increase in the noise, altering the bus's interior and installing light bulbs in exchange for payment. Consequently, police treat the buses differently depending on the situation, often blaming the owners for mistakes they are unaware of. The bus owners in many cases are not informed whether the modifications have been officially approved. They are not to be blamed. As a result, they make various modifications according to that. It is crucial that both the government and police take action after identifying the actual mistakes.
විදුලි බුබුලු දාන්නේ මේවට මුදල් අරන් මොටර රථ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව මේකට අනුමැතිය ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා.
What is the stance of the Department of Motor Traffic? The Department of Motor Traffic said that modifications on buses and three-wheelers are permitted provided they comply with specified regulations. The department added that proper authorization must be obtained for such modifications and relevant details must be included in the vehicle's registration certificate. What is the stance of the police on the Motor Traffic Department's clarification? Police said that while modifications may be installed with proper approval, they could potentially intensify damage in the event of an accident. Police added that in accordance with current regulations, a 2-week grace period has been granted for the removal of any illegal vehicle modifications.
National People's Power parliamentarian Upul Kitsiri says that a formal investigation will be conducted into a factory built with a significant amount of public funds in Hingura, Ambalipitia, which is currently not being utilised properly. Now, he made this statement following his visit to the factory, which is brought to light through a Newsfirst revelation.
A factory located in Hingura on the outskirts of Walava Ratnapura was opened in 2018 with modern technical equipment intended for drying paddy. Despite an investment of 370 million rupees, the factory has remained underutilized. This building was constructed with funds allocated directly from the Ministry of Finance of the Treasury, totaling 370 million rupees for the project. It has the capacity to store more than 2 million kilograms of paddy. The facility is equipped with advanced machinery, including 2 machines capable of both wet and dry paddy processing. These machines can dry up to 6,000 kilograms at a time. Additionally, there is a laboratory on site. I was the first to bring paddy and store it here. This is the stance of the local residents. What is the response from the relevant government authorities regarding this issue? After Newsfirst's report on this issue, the Spices and Allied Products Marketing Board issued a statement on the 6th of December 2024. The statement highlighted that the machinery from the former grain storage facility and the spice grinding machines were deteriorating and said that broadcasting it could damage trust in the board's activities. The board explained that the grain storage facility had been shut down and in 2021, the building and other assets were leased to the Spices and Allied Products Marketing Board for 30 years by the previous government. The statement further clarified that since then, the board has employed staff, installed new spice grinding machines, maintained them properly and officially operated the spice processing centre.
Minister of Health and Mass Media Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa said that the government has decided to continue operating Sri Lanka Triposha Limited as a state-owned enterprise with plans for innovation and development.
Minister of Health and Mass Media Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa visited the Triposha Limited in Kandana and assessed its current operations. He assessed various aspects of the operations, including the raw material warehouse, machinery efficiency and packaging processes. He also held in-depth discussions with the chairman and other officials about the company's future.
The previous government had made a decision to close down the Triposha company. However, I firmly believe that this company should continue operations. It must be developed and sustained for the benefit of the country. Looking ahead, we plan to launch a number of development initiatives, including one aimed at strengthening the supply chain for Triposha. We will work to organize local farmers and entrepreneurs who supply maize and soy to the company. These producers producers need to be united into a cooperative framework where their products can be purchased at special rates by Triposha, ensuring a sustainable long-term supply system. Currently, the supply chain is fractured, and it is essential that the Ministry of Health steps in to establish a structured distribution system for these vital products. With a strong development plan in place, we will continue to operate and expand this institution as a state-owned enterprise, ensuring its ongoing success and contribution to the national health and nutrition.
Over the past 76 years of independence, every government has promised to bring progress and facilities to the villagers in rural Sri Lanka. On the other hand, the opposition has consistently claimed that the ruling party is not doing enough, insisting that if they were in power, they would get things done. Yet, both parties have alternated in power, often swapping roles, but in the end, the promises remain unfulfilled, leaving the people stuck in the same cycle. Local government, provincial councils and the parliament have all been filled with the same faces. But what has truly changed? Did the funds allocated for development projects actually reach the people, or were they misappropriated? Shouldn't all those who have governed the country over the past 76 years take responsibility for where we have ended up today? This is the key issue. What happened to the village?
What happened to the village?
A major factor contributing to Sri Lanka's financial crisis is the countless projects launched under the banner of development. Public funds have been wasted, and many projects that should have benefited the people were handed over incomplete. To make matters worse, there are numerous projects where work was left unfinished and money was squandered. For example, the construction of a bridge in Lianagastota was proposed to span the Walave River connecting the Ratnapura and Hambantota districts. Had the bridge been completed, it would have significantly improved the lives of people in areas like Bedigamtota, Suriyavawa, Mahapalassa, Ridiyagama, Hatporuwa, Lianagastota, Padalangala and Baravakkumbuka. This project was initiated by the Good Governance government. However, a massive sum of 350 million was spent, but the project remains half done, with construction materials left abandoned.
මනුස්සුන්ට යන්න එන්න විදියක් නැති රත් එකට මෙතන පත් වෙලා තියෙනවා. එහා පැත්තේ තියෙනවා සපාරිය. උණු දීපකුණ තියෙනවා. සූර්යවැව පොළ තියෙනවා. ඒ සියලුම දෙනාට යන්න ළඟම ඇති පාර තමයි මේ පාරේ.
It doesn't end here. There's more to add to the problem. While construction began, it was abruptly halted. People who once used boats to cross the river are now stuck with no alternative. For years, people relied on boats and other routes, but once the project started, even that stopped.
මේ බැදිගන්තොට සූර්යව විහාරගල ගොවි මහත්තුරුන්ගේ වෙළඳ භාණ්ඩ අරගෙන ඔරුවෙන් එක එහා පැත්තට එකට කොල්ල අමනුකොළ පැලස බරහුඹක පොළට තමයි අරගෙන ගියේ මුලින්ම මේ පාලම හදුවනම් මීටර 500කින් යන්න තියෙන එක දැන් අපි අර මෙහෙම නාහය අල්ලන්න වගේ දැන් යන්න ඕන සම්පූර්ණ කිලෝමීටර 30ක් විතර අනේ බුදුහාමේ දැන් පාලම හදුව විතරයි මේ ඔරු පාර හේරු නතර වුණා ඒ කර වැඩෙන් මිනිසුන්ගේ වෙළඳ භාණ්ඩ එහාට මෙහාට ගෙනියන්න විදියකුත් නැහැ පාලම හැදුනෙත් නැහැ මේක විතරක් නෙමෙයි හැම දෙයක් මේක නෙමෙයි රටට වෙලා තියෙන්නේ ලොකුවට පටන් ගන්න පටන් ගත්තට මෙන්න මෙහෙම නතර වෙනවා. බලන්න මේ මොන තරම් අපරාධයක්ද කියලා මේ රට මේ සල්ලි වීදම් කරන්න පුළුවන් රටක්ද මේක. මේ මිනිස්සු කොච්චර දුක් විඳිනවද මේ අපේ ධනය.
What happened to the village?
Newsfirst with the people.
The 75th Diamond Jubilee birthday celebrations of Most Venerable Barnagal Upatisatthara was held in Colombo this morning.
The 75th Diamond Jubilee birthday celebrations of the Most Venerable Barnagal Upatisatthara, the chief incumbent of the Agrasavaka Mahaviharya, Chief Sanganayaka of Japan, President of the Mahabodhi Society of Sri Lanka, Chaitiyagiriya Viharya, Sanchi, India, chief incumbent of the Lankaji Temple in Japan, and the founder chairman of the Yoshida Shokanji International School, Yoshida Shokanji Educational and Social Service Foundation, Sri Lanka was held in Colombo today. The event was attended by many including members of the Mahasangha, Lanka, diplomats and politicians. Retired IPS officer and Director General of Police in India's Madhya Pradesh, Anuradha Shankar, also attended the event.
It's an occasion to mark the historic role that Puja Banagal Swamiji has played in not only in the relationship between Sri Lanka and India, but in how he has been. I was just mentioning it yesterday at Anuradhapura, that how he has been an ambassador of peace and spirituality, of love and belonging, not only but all over the world, wherever he has found an audience. And that's why I say that he has been doing some miracles, taking Panchashil to Saudi Arabia, or the most unlikely place that we could have imagined, and he has found an audience there. He has found people who have venerated him there, and so it's not a surprise that he has an impact from Japan to India to other places where people speak in English or follow religions of which are like each other, which are similar.
Most Venerable Banagal Upatisatthera was honoured today with the unveiling of the book Janmabhisheka, recognizing its remarkable contribution to the Buddhist community.
හුඟක්ම සන්තෝෂ වෙනවා අනගාരിക ධර්මපාලතුමා ආරම්භ කරපු මහා බෝධි සමාගමේ කවුරුවත් හිටියේ නැහැ අවුරුදු 25ක් සභාපති හැටියට. අදටත් මට තනතුරේ ඉන්න ලැබීම ගැන
I am truly delighted to be acknowledged for the remarkable work that Anagarika Dharmapala began with the Mahabodhi Society. I had the privilege of serving as the president of the society for 25 years, a position that had not been held by anyone before me. Today, I regard this role as a result of unwavering courage and determination. I proudly identify as the third generation in the lineage of Dharmapala. I am profoundly grateful to my parents, teachers and the system that empowered me with the strength to serve. I look forward to continuing my work with the support of all of you here today. I must also express my heartfelt thanks to one person who provided significant assistance over these 25 years. Yashida, who gave me a cup of tea, Mr. Raja Mahendran, who is not with us today, stood by me until the end.
Raja Mahendran මැතිතුමා අද මාත් එක්ක නැහැ. එතුමා ඒ සිද්ධා මැතිණියගෙන් පස්සේ මගේ වගකීම බාර අරගෙන තුමා අන්තිම දවස වෙනකම් මට උදව් උපකාර කරා.
Just last year, towards the end, the Prime Minister declared Pali as a classical language. And that is an initiative that is directed at bringing Buddhists around the world together in their endeavor to promote the Buddhist canon, to study it deeper, and promote the development of Pali as a language around the world. And I'm glad to say that the first country to welcome that was Sri Lanka, and the Most Venerable was certainly there in the forefront of welcoming that. And it became an inspiration for many other Buddhist countries to undertake a similar initiative to promote these Pali level exchanges that we are talking about. And we are in the process of actually taking a number of initiatives to promote Pali linkages between India and Sri Lanka.
The 75th birthday celebrations of Most Venerable Banagal Upatisatthera featured an offering of alms for 75 Buddhist monks, along with the distribution of rice and dry rations for 500 families. The ceremony was organized to invoke blessings and long life to Most Venerable Banagal Upatisatthera, and also as a gratitude for the yeoman service rendered in disseminating the teachings of Lord Buddha universally. Most Venerable Banagal Upatisatthera, born on 5th January 1950 in Banagala, southern Sri Lanka, dedicated over 57 years of his life to the service of Buddhism. He entered monastic life at the age of 17 and went on to become one of Sri Lanka's most respected Buddhist leaders. After the founding of the Sri Lanka Mahabodhi Society by Anagarika Dharmapala, Venerable Banagal Upatisatthera became its leader, serving as president for 25 years. Under his guidance, the society grew in influence and continued its efforts to promote Buddhism in Sri Lanka and beyond. One of his significant achievements was leading the construction of the first Theravada Buddhist temple in Japan, marking an important milestone in the global spread of Buddhism. In another historic moment, Most Venerable Banagal Upatisatthera was invited by the King of Saudi Arabia to carry out Buddhist work in the country, becoming the first monk to do so. In addition to his religious work, Most Venerable Banagal Upatisatthera made remarkable contribution to the education of underprivileged children in in Sri Lanka. His efforts were instrumental in improving access to education for many, especially in rural areas. The Most Venerable Thera also founded the Yoshida Scholarship Foundation to support early childhood education, furthering his commitment to the nation's educational development. Most Venerable Banagal Upatissa Thera's life of service continues to inspire many in Sri Lanka and around the world.
Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, has called for the urgent need for a new constitution in Sri Lanka.
During a meeting with Speaker Dr. Jagat Wickramaratne, Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit called for the urgent need for a new constitution in Sri Lanka. The meeting took place at the Archbishop's official residence in Colombo. The meeting also focused on important issues such as strengthening the independence of the judiciary and the necessity of constitutional reform to ensure a more stable future for the country.
The One Home Journey, organised by Home for Humanity in partnership with Sarvodaya Shramadana movement, held its first roundtable discussion in Colombo.
The One Home Journey, organised by Home for Humanity, is a global expedition of 7 years to all 195 countries aimed at uniting the world to create a shared home for humanity and all life. The Sarvodaya Shramadana movement has partnered with this global initiative from Sri Lanka. The first roundtable discussion of the project was held today in Colombo with the presence of the co-founder of One Home Journey, Professor Alexander Schiefer, and President of Sarvodaya movement, Dr. Vinya Ariyaratne.
The One Home Journey itself is a 7-year long journey. It's called the One Home Journey 2024 to 2030, 7 years for 7 generations. So a 7-year journey to each and every country on the planet to surface the most pioneering initiatives that are homegrown, culturally rooted, socially rooted in each and every society.
One Home Journey believes in humanity, serving humanity, saving humanity. We work together to understanding each other's needs and then bringing resources together, but very importantly, we look at the nature, we look at how we connect with our own selves as well as our ecological system. So it is creating a balance in our communities.
A diverse group of change makers, including community leaders and activists from various sectors, attended the event.
Myanmar's military government has released about 6,000 prisoners and has reduced the sentence of other inmates as part of a mass amnesty yesterday, marking the 77th anniversary of independence from Britain.
Myanmar's military government, alias the junta government, released 5,864 prisoners, including 180 foreigners, under an amnesty yesterday. Among those still imprisoned by the junta is the country's former leader, Nobel laureate Aung San Suu Kyi. However, there was no sign that the prisoner release would include Aung San Suu Kyi, who is 79, who has been held virtually incommunicado by the military since it seized power from her elected government in 2021. She is serving a 27-year sentence after being convicted of a series of politically tinged prosecutions brought by the military. Nor was it immediately clear if those released would include any of the thousands of political detainees locked up for opposing army rule since the military coup. According to Myanmar state media reports, the head of the military government granted amnesties covering 5,864 prisoners from Myanmar as well as 180 foreigners who will be deported. The foreigners to be released could include 4 Thai fishers who were arrested by Myanmar's Navy in late November after patrol boats opened fire on Thai fishing vessels in waters close to their maritime border in the Andaman Sea. Thailand's Prime Minister has said she expects the 4 to be released on Independence Day. The terms of release warn that if the freed detainees violate the law again, they will have to serve the remainder of their original sentences in addition to any new sentence. Head of the military government had further commuted the life sentences of 144 prisoners to 15 years imprisonment. Additionally, all other prisoners would have their sentences reduced by a sixth except those convicted under the Explosive Substances Act, the Unlawful Associations Act, the Arms Act and the Counter-Terrorism Law, all laws that are often used against opponent military rule. Mass prisoner releases are common on holidays and other significant occasions in Myanmar. Last year, the junta announced the release of more than 9,000 prisoners to mark Independence Day.
The US Department of State has notified Congress of a planned $8 billion arms sale to Israel. This consignment of weapons, which needs approval from House and Senate committees, includes missiles, shells and other munitions.
The move comes just over a fortnight before President Joe Biden leaves office. Washington has rejected calls to suspend military backing for Israel because of the number of civilians killed during the war in Gaza. In August, the US approved the sale of $20 billion in fighter jets and other military equipment to Israel. The latest planned shipment contains air-to-air missiles, Hellfire missiles, artillery shells and bombs. According to foreign media, President Joe Biden has made clear Israel has a right to defend its citizens, consistent with international law and international humanitarian law, and to deter aggression from Iran and its proxy organizations. Biden has often described US support for Israel as ironclad. The US is far the biggest supplier of arms to Israel, having helped it build one of the most technologically sophisticated militaries in the world. According to Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, the US accounted for 69% of Israel's imports of major conventional arms between 2019 and 2023. The planned shipment is one of a number of steps taken by the Biden administration in recent weeks as the outgoing president attempts to show up his legacy. It will likely also be the last planned weapons sale to Israel before he leaves the White House on 20th January 2025, when his successor Donald Trump is inaugurated. The president-elect has previously spoken of ending foreign conflicts and of reducing US involvement, including during his re-election bid. Trump has positioned himself as a staunch supporter of Israel, but has urged the American ally to finish its military operations in Gaza quickly.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.
Thousands of young people came together to enjoy the Why Relax party at the Vihara Mahadevi Park in Colombo, while also making the most of the various opportunities offered throughout the day. The highlight of the event was the live concert featuring Chanu Kamora and the Yaka crew, joined by performers Umaria, Hana Shafa, Wasti, Dinesh Gamage and Kaiser Kais.
අමුතු භාෂාවක් දැන්න කෙල්ල අපි දෙන්න පාවෙලා යන් මයින්ද ලෝකේ තනි කරමායාවක් මලිස් දරසුන් කරලා